Hi everybody, it's Patrick. You know, a big part of laundry is like just kind of the care of clothes, right? So it's not just, washing and drying and folding because of course, those things are fun, but sometimes you don't wear something because like a button is missing. So I thought I'd show you how to sew in a button, and there's the way that everybody kind of learned, but when I worked for Neiman Marcus and when I worked for Nordstrom, I watched the tailors do it. And they have a much more efficient way to do it than sort of what we learn. So I'm going to show you their way, because then, you can just like sew on buttons at random. You have to just cut the buttons off and sew them back on because it's so much fun. So let me show you how. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you kind of the cheater's way to thread the needle. We sell these little sewing kits at the store, and I actually already happen to have the thread, so I'm not going to open it. But the trick is, let's take out the needle threader and we'll pull out the needle. So I sell these little kits. They're actually great because you can kind of keep up with them, and they do a lot of things. But so what you're gonna do first, actually I'm gonna put this in my mouth for a second. So just watch. I'm gonna pull 2 lengths of the thread. They're each gonna be about 1 yard long. Okay, then I've got the needle, and here's the needle threader. And what you do is you push the threader through the eye of the needle. You just push it right through, just like that. And then we're actually going to thread both lengths of this thread. So there's 2 pieces here, and we're going to run both of them through. So we're actually running 2 lengths of thread through the needle. This is one thing when you're usually taught to sew on a button, you don't do this. You're always taught like to run a piece of thread through the needle, and and when I watched the tailor do this, I remember I was having a shirt of my own fixed when I was at Neiman's, and I watched the guy do this and was sort of like, why did no one ever teach me this trick? Because it made everything so much simpler. Okay, hang on, we didn't get it right. We're gonna do it again. I only got 1 length through. In fairness, this light is so bright. Like I like bright light, but come on, this is so bright. It's like the thread is almost glowing. Okay, there we go. See, we've pulled both lengths through. Now, to get it off the needle threader, you just literally pull it back out, and there you go. So now the needle is threaded, and what we're going to do is we're going to pull these 2 lengths together like this. So when we're done, we're actually going to have 4 lengths of thread. Let's pull them all together. Get a hold of them. There we go. Okay, now look at that. So we actually have 4 lengths of thread. We're going to tie a knot at the end. We're going to tie a knot just like that. There we go. Okay, so see how that, we have 4 lengths and then a knot, and then we're just going to snip off this extra little bit on the end. There we go. Snip like that. Okay. All right. So see, we have the 4 lengths of thread there. So now you go on the shirt where the button is. Okay, and I can see where the button was, so that's great. And contrary to what you think, you pushed down the first time. So the knot is actually, this knot is going to end up under the button. So we're using 4 lengths of thread, and we're pulling straight through, and then we're going to grab the button. And actually, we're going to come back to the top. Here we go, right next to our little knot. There we go. Then we're going to take the button, and there is a front side and a back side to the button. So we're going to take the front side, and it's going to be face up. Oh, I got caught. There we go. All right, the front side is face up, so there we are. See, like that. And then you sew straight across. So you go straight across where you were, and pull back through, and then you repeat that. And what's great is when you do it this way and you're using so much thread, you only have to do it 5 times. go. That other button just really wants to get caught in there, doesn't it? Okay. 2. And when I learned, it's funny, when I learned to sew on a button, I remember the sewing teacher say, you have to go 10 times each way. Well, but I was taught by using a single length of thread. And when I saw, I remember the guy's name, his name was Tom, who did it. When I remember seeing him do this, and I thought, Tom is a genius. But Tom was taught like a tailor. And so he was taught and you can imagine, the stuff at Neiman Marcus was the best in the world. And, so, you can come in. So anyway, so he was taught it was the best in the world. So, so you go through, okay, so we've gone through 5 ways, and now we're going to cross and go through the other way. We're going to go 5 through this way, just like that. This, you guys, this little button, it's just, for some reason, this other button wants to be part of the story, doesn't he? All right, there we go. So we're going to go across 5 times. 1, 2, 3. This is 4. And this is really going to anchor this button super tight, which is, kind of what you're going for, because sometimes do you ever buy things and, you feel like the buttons are loose when you get them? I have been known to cut buttons off and just sew them back on, especially if they're weird. This is a shirt button, and in a pinch, if I lost this, I could go to the fabric store and get another one. Okay. All right. So we've gone through both ways. Now here is the big trick. This is the big finish. So what you do is you push the needle up and you push the needle up, and we're going to come out under the button. So we're going to do it just like that. So do you see that? See how I'm coming out under the button? I'm actually going to get that a little closer. There we go. See how I come out under the button? And then you wrap. And you wrap it 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what that does, it creates what's called a shank. And the shank allows a little space under the button so that, I'm actually going to give this one more time just because I have extra thread. It gives you that little thickness there so that when you button the shirt, you can get it through. So, okay, so after you do it 5 times, we did it 6, but you did it 5, then what you do is you push the needle through the shank. Uh-oh, we got a little tangle. There we go. You push the needle through the shank a couple of times because that's how we're going to anchor it. It goes right through there. It's right through the shank. And this gets tight. I'm going to tell you, I have done this before where I've had to use pliers, but fortunately, came through. There you go. And then you do it a 3rd time, and that's when you just tie it off. So we're going to push it through just like that. We're going to keep it neat. There we go. All right, so there we are. We're done, and now we're just going to stick that there and grab my scissors. And you snip this off, and when you snip it, snip as close as you can to that knot so that you don't end up with little ends. Like that. Okay, and there it is. Now, I want to show it to you up close. So, hang on 1 second. Okay, so that is how you sew on a button. I wanted to show it to you up close so you can kind of see it. That's what the front looks like. And see, that's what the back should look like. You should have a tiny little crisscross. You don't want a big knot. And if you look in here, do you see how you can see that shank where we twisted the thread up in there? And what that did is that way when you go to button the shirt, let's show you. That way when you go to button the shirt, let's see, it's that buttonhole. You go to button the shirt, you put the button through, and it gives a little space so that the shirt doesn't pucker. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't know. There's a couple things. Number one, people don't know that you can do 4 loops of thread because it makes it so much easier, because you don't have to do it so many times. It makes it stronger, but then when you wrap that shake, it gives you that little bit of depth so that the shirt lays really flat when you button it. So that's how you do it. It's really pretty easy. I think it's fun, you know, but what do I know? I like to wash them too. But I think it's fun, but it's easy. So now you can just go to your closet and all those things you haven't worn because they're missing a button or whatever, you can totally do it. So thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.